Hello and welcome to this new episode of Authors and Espresso and Lifelong Lattes. Today is a special day because both of my podcasts are coming together in a unique way, and I am excited to talk to both of my audiences at the same time. My Authors and Espresso audience, that's where we highlight independently published authors. And I often have people on to talk about their new works. And today I am excited to feature my own. And for those of you on the lifelong latte side, that's where we often talk about family law issues, guardianship, child support, custody, marriage, divorce, prenups, all those fun things. And for the past 8 to 10 weeks or so, we've been doing a special segment over there called Before Forever, One Conversation at a Time, where I've been going through a conversation from my book each week that I strongly encourage couples to discuss before they walk down the aisle and say, I do, or decide to move in together or make a lifelong commitment to each other. So I am really excited. And for those of you on YouTube, you are seeing my book cover on the screen. Before Forever is finally here, and it has been a long road to get books in my hands, but I finally have them. I have a huge Amazon box next to me, super heavy, and in it is my first shipment of the books. So I will uncover my camera. Hello, audience. But keep in mind what the book looks like. And I also have one in my hand to hold. So that is hard on a virtual background, but I actually have the books in hand and I am just so thrilled. It has been quite a journey to get to this point. I have been thinking of this book probably really for 10 plus years, but I really about 5 to 7 years ago started jotting down questions here and there. And then really got serious about writing the book in the past year. And I've been so passionate about this book because as I've walked so many couples through the divorce process, I often have the opportunity to sit down and ask them, what brought you to my office? Why are you getting divorced? What happened? And a lot of the things that I heard, I just couldn't believe the conversations were never had on the front end. It was huge things like, I'm ready to have kids and he doesn't. Like that's kind of a big one that you wouldn't think that people miss, but they have. Or they have differences in how they spend their money. One person saves a lot. One person is spending and enjoying in the moment. And a lot of times that discord can cause discomfort for some, and that starts to break down the relationship. A lot of times I've seen extended families start to stand in the way of the relationship, and that is huge. People's cultures, people's traditions, people's allegiance to their birth family versus their newly formed family, and so many other conversations that I found that got missed. Now, I would love if everyone did premarital counseling. Unfortunately, not a lot of couples do. I don't have the stats on it, but I would venture to say less than half. That's kind of been my experience, or at least the ones that end up at the divorce table. They a lot of times did not do premarital counseling. And if they had, they would come across a lot of those big discussions and know whether they're aligned or not because they would have already walked that path. So this book is my goal to not replace premarital counseling, but definitely it can stand in the gap. A lot of times people can't afford it, and that's understandable. A therapist may be 150 an hour or more. Um, a lot of times the spiritual advisor will do that for free, but if you don't have a spiritual advisor or you don't believe in organized religion, then you may not have that avenue. So my goal was to make the conversations accessible so that people can go through it at their leisure. I strongly recommend at least 6 months before you start planning the wedding. That would be my my strong recommendation. So I would recommend that people go through this. And if you come to a topic that you are really at an impasse with and it's really important to you, then maybe you could just take that one or two or three topic segment to a marriage counselor or a family therapist or a couples therapist and work out those issues as opposed to going to through a full session when you're already in alignment on 80% of the book. So that would be my goal, is that this gives people something to put them on the road to alignment, to really build a firm foundation to see if they really should be together. You're not going to agree on everything. That's not life, right? You're not marrying your twin. That's understandable. But if there's a lot of big things that you do not agree on and they're important to you and they're kind of make or break for you and you're not in alignment, then certainly you should take a step back and really consider, is this my forever person? Am I just attracted to the looks? Is it just lust, or are we really compatible? Are we really going to be able to make it through tough times? And that's what building a strong foundation will do for you. Life is always going to happen. You're going to, somebody may get sick. You may have deaths in the family. You may have to go through issues with your children. Money may ebb and flow. All these other things may happen because life happens to every one of us. But if you have a strong foundation on the major pieces of the puzzle, then at least you know that you're riding through the storms of life with someone who you are on the same page with, who you have the same philosophy with, who you have the same marriage goals with. If you don't talk about huge things, then when those storms kind of come and hit, everything that was brewing beneath the surface becomes a major issue. And when you realize in times of crisis that you weren't really aligned, it's really devastating for a lot of families. And I always say that divorce is expensive. And it's not just about the money that it costs in court fees and attorneys. It really is emotionally expensive. It's something you have to navigate children through if you've brought children into the marriage or blended families. A lot of people have a lot of hurt healings, a lot of resentment or bitterness. So it takes an emotional toll. It's grieving the future that you thought you were going to have. There's a lot that goes into divorce aside from just having two different households now. And I think a lot of that can be curbed if you really set out to have a strong foundation on the front end. So if you want a taste of some of the questions that we've been going through, especially if you're coming from the Authors and Espresso podcast, if you want to journey on over to Lifelong Lattes, we have been going through one question a week before forever, one conversation at a time. And I've already gone through, I want to say about 5 or 6 topics. Um, 3 or 4 topics, maybe four questions in each. I can't remember all of it, but we started with faith. We started with your background history, any childhood trauma, any criminal behavior in the past. We are turning the corner and starting to talk about money, which is really, really important. I wish I could play Cardi B in the background right now. Money is really, really important, especially the less of it you have and the harder life tends to be. I think you really have to be in alignment when it comes to your savings goals, your spending goals. Do you want joint or separate accounts? What do you want for your children? If you want private school, are you able to pay for that? Or if one person is going to stay home and homeschool, can your one income support the household? All of those things that have to be talked about. Do you have tax liens? Do you have back child support? Those things are usually a real big surprise in year 1 or 2 of the marriage. A lot of times, the first time you file taxes together and it gets garnished, the other spouse starts having questions. uh, there's so much. There's so much. So again, having these questions, going through these questions on the front end can save you a lot on the back end. And I love the cover. I probably should just cover my screen again so you can look at it and I'll talk about it. Let's just do that real fast so you can see. Okay, so there's the cover on your screen, and I absolutely love it. I've gotten a lot of great feedback on it. I love the pop of color, the red, the roses. I wanted it to be in line with my first book, which has a lot of flowers on the cover, but I wanted it to be a lot simpler. I love the creamy color with the pop of red. I've gotten great feedback from men and women, and that's a mock-up in your picture on the screen, but the actual book is actually really thin. And guys have given me great feedback on that because it does not look intimidating. It's really thin. So it doesn't look like a 500-page book that you have to journey through. There's 22 chapters. There's at least 10 questions in every chapter. Some questions have a little bit more. And lost my train of thought. Anyway, in addition to the questions themselves, every chapter starts out with a little bit of a playlist because I'm a little bit extra. For those of you who don't really get to know me up close and personal, I am a little bit extra. So there is actually a playlist that comes with the book. I have QR codes in the book for you. There's an Apple Music and a Spotify. So I tried to hit all types of phones. I'm an Apple person, but I realize that everybody is not. But the beginning of every chapter has 3 questions that kind of put you in the mood for the conversation to come ahead. And I just love that. The songs that I had to journey through and pick out, that was a whole endeavor on its own. I can go into a lot about that. But having to change songs and cancel people and find a replacement and all the things that went with it. But I'm happy with the final playlist. So if you get it on Amazon or Spotify, it's the same. I don't know how Spotify works really. I've been told if you don't have a paid account, it may shuffle the songs for you arbitrarily. I don't know. But I've got the songs listed at the beginning of every chapter so you know what you should be listening to that goes with the chapter. So I've got the suggested listening, and then I've got the questions, and then I have 3 exercises at the end of every chapter. So those could be extended conversation starters. They could be a listening exercise. It could be an agreement that you two write up after you've come to a compromise. And I just thought it would be nice to have a little added support in addition to just having the discussion on the questions. So you're really reinforcing it. Again, not to take the place of therapy. I'm not trying to step on their toes. I'm not a therapist, but I did run this by a therapist. And so she said it was very in line with what she commonly does with her couples. So I was really encouraged by that. And at the end, I have a closing reflection at the end of every chapter. And then I have resource guides. And that is just, look at the writing. It's so cute. Okay, well, you lost it. There. Look at the writing. It's so cute. Shout out to my designer. I had to get a new designer because my designer that did my first 2 projects went into hospice unexpectedly. So that was a change that I had to navigate on the production side. Authors Espresso, I can do a whole podcast on bringing the book to life, which is what we like to talk about over there. But the resource guides really, again, help to reinforce a lot of the concepts in the book and just give you additional language to use. Like, here's feelings words, here's common values that you might want to focus on. There's a boundary sheet, a one sheet for digital usage, like social media usage. Tried to cover as much as I could. I could have added 500 more questions, but I knew nobody would sit down for that. I do plan to have a second edition at some point, and I also plan to have a audiobook, not where I'm reading the questions to you because nobody would sit there and listen to that, but but where I am taking the feedback that I get and incorporating it into each chapter and then doing an audiobook really based on like, this is what this chapter is focusing on. This is why it's important. This is what I saw in my practice. And this is what I heard from the feedback, and put that together to make that a special added journey for you, the listener. So I really encourage you, if you do purchase the book, please give me feedback. You could be gentle, be honest but gentle. You don't have to be brutally honest. Uh, I know there may be some things I missed. I know questions will have to be added to a second edition more than likely, or things changed out or clarified. But if you have feedback of having a discussion and this is a result that you came through to, or you didn't know something was an issue until you had the conversation, or you didn't even think to ask it, but once you did, it it led to a flow of conversation that you would have never anticipated. And hopefully, prayerfully, you are able to get through whatever that is you're discussing. But I would just love to hear your feedback on how the book works for you, how you felt going through the journey, what truly resonated with you. Yeah, all of that. Whatever feedback you like to give, I would love to hear it. I am easily accessible at Nadia at E legalcafe.com. So you can always shoot me an email there or connect with me at nadiagilks.com. Yes, that's my email address. Connect with me at nadiagilks.com. And nadiagilks.com is also my website. So you can always go to my website and fill out a contact form, and that will get a message to me as well. So lots of ways to get in touch with me to really give me your thoughts on the book. If you would like to be on the podcast and have some discussions. I already have a couple couples in mind that I plan to bring forth on Lifelong Lattes, um, and a couple speakers that should be coming up. I'm hoping to have the boundaries expert that was on Authors and Espresso. I'm going to talk to her tomorrow, and hopefully she can come and talk about this book now, because I think we've hit a point in the podcast where having a boundaries expert wrap it all up would be great. I also would like to speak to a financial planner. That's a goal for the podcast so that we can wrap up that money section once I get to the end of that. And then I have a couple couples that I want to highlight, a little couple surprises. So I'm hoping that I can get some people to come on and really bring this full circle, bring this from a list of questions that we've just been talking about to really putting it into real world action. Like, how did couples journey through this book before the book was even in existence? I just know people that have gone through situations, and it's so in line with the book. I just think they would be great guests. So I am so excited. I am so proud to have another venture out to the world. For those of you who have been following me a very long time, you may already have my first book, Woke Up Dead. That's where I really encourage you to have your estate planning paperwork together. I also have a collection of journals called F Words, and that is for people who love to do vision boarding. It's a guided journal. And now, Before Forever, my book on, we'll just do that. My book on essential conversations for couples to build healthy long-term relationships or marriages. So I appreciate your support as always. Thank you for tuning into the podcast, reacting to social media posts, purchasing my books, and you can look for a book launch. I tentatively have August 8th in mind for the book launch in Las Vegas. And then August 9th, I think I'm going to do a virtual book launch or sometime that same week. And then I also plan to go to Atlanta at some point, possibly the very end of August, where I normally have a more intimate book launch with my family and then whoever else they want to invite. And I may do a little pop-up something in Vancouver. These books are kind of heavy. Got, they're light, but if you take 30 or 40 somewhere, then it gets a bit heavy. But I will be in Vancouver for about 2 weeks, and I'll be there with my Toastmasters family. So I think that would be a great opportunity to do a pop-up there too. So the month of August is going to be really busy with me getting the word out that Before Forever is now here. and available. But for you, I will put the link in the comments so that if you want an autographed copy, you can get one directly from me. Or if you want to go ahead and go to Barnes and Nobles, you can head there July 21st. The book will be live. And if you want Amazon, you can go there now. So thank you for your support. Please, if you've only been listening to one podcast, circle back, cross back, and listen to both because you never know what you might hear or what inspiration might be sparked or what have you. Authors and Espresso, I have a lot of author interviews on that channel where I've highlighted people who have written books, brought their stories to life. And I encourage everyone to write because everybody has a story in them. And I feel like when we put our stories out, we really can learn and grow from each other and have a better understanding of each other. And I just have a passion for highlighting artists. I love to write. I love my work. I love other people's work. And so it's just another avenue to try to get promotion for young independent authors, new authors. I shouldn't say young, new, newly published authors, because it is quite a journey to put your own work out there, but it's such joy to hold your own work in your hands. And then on the Lifelong Latte side, where we talk about family law, caregiving, guardianship, sometimes I throw true crime in there because I love true crime. And sadly, crime and family law go hand in hand a lot of the time. So that's always an interesting twist. And I have a long-term goal of being a true crime commentator. I would love for nothing more than to be able to just sit home all day, watch court TV, and then share my opinions on whatever's happening in the trial and not really have to leave my house. That's that is my long-term goal is to be able to do something that brings in money that I don't have to leave my house. But for now, we're gonna keep writing, keep creating, keep sharing, keep trying to save relationships and walk people through their toughest moments and get people to a brighter new chapter in their life. That's just been my career long legacy, and I'm continuing that with Before Forever, hopefully building happy, long lasting relationships and marriages. So grab your copy. It makes a great gift. It makes a beautiful gift. And until next time, thank you for tuning in.